Live streaming is on.
Okay, so I think we're supposed to get started here.
Okay.
You guys ready?
Just about. I'm just grabbing a glass of water real quick. But I'm here. I can hear you.
Okay. Mel, would you like to check in? Are you here?
Yep. I'm 7 and doing well. Glad to join today's session.
And what have you been working on? Mel, we're gonna say what you've been working on.
Let's see. The CCC infrastructure and the Stacy's situation.
So we're going into our next topic, which is just a contention with the situation with Stacy, Mel, Alberto, and others. And basically, this relates to when Stacy first got involved and ongoing until now, and basically is related to Stacy not meeting her expectations for the first month, but trying to change everything like that. So that's kind of the current situation that we're discussing. So just to remind everybody about our nonviolent communication techniques, I also linked the notes, our conflict evolution process doc. But there's just 4 rules basically for this process. One is to use I statements. So try to refrain from talking, about other people's perspective. Say, do you want to mute? I think you're right there.
Yes, I'm here.
If you can mute, that'd be good. So I was just saying, starting with I statements. So just focus on your own perception and what you are experiencing, as opposed to kind of perceive other people's experiences. 2 is the observations. Try to stick with observations of what you actually observed, as opposed to what you might think happened, right? Or assumptions and things like that. Option number 3 is say how you felt.
Time to pause.
5-second pause. So number 3 is that you want to really say how you felt. How what you observed made you feel. And then number 4 is any requests that you might have. Typically the requests come a little bit later, but it's good to note that's part of it. And again, we want to try to refrain from opinions, and we want to refrain from speaking for other people.
Okay.
As best as we can. And then we're going to repeat back what everyone. So in this case, mainly we're going to focus on Mel and at least 2 minutes. We're going to focus on Mel and Stacy. So are there any questions, mainly from Mel and Stacy, about the process and what we're about to do?
No, none from me.
No? Okay, so who would like to start? And we're going to try to do about, 10 minutes per person. Like I'm going to try to cut it off at 10 minutes and we can continue later if needed.
Okay.
So I'd say you can help 9 people. So who would like to start?
Mel can start if she'd like.
You want to start, Mel?
Sorry, my computer just got disconnected.
We can hear you.
I don't know if I missed anything in the last 30 seconds, but...
Did you hear the 4 ground rules? Mel, did you hear the 4 ground rules? Mel? I think you're on mute, Mel. Can you hear us?
Yes. Yes.
Did you hear the 4 ground rules?
Yes, I did hear that.
Okay, cool. So are you comfortable starting? Do you want to start? Because either you or Stacy can start.
Not really.
Okay.
Wait.
You prefer Stacy to start?
I prefer, yeah.
Stacy, do you feel comfortable starting, or?
I can. I only said that because she had said she prepared something, so I wanted to give her that option. I haven't prepared anything. I'm just going off the cuff. So,
Oh, I didn't prepare anything, and I never said I prepared something. I don't think so.
So again, we're not talking about what other people may have done or said. Let's focus on ourselves and our own eyes.
Okay. Okay. And my apologies. I guess I was going back to what we said we were working on. So this kind of just came to a head yesterday because I felt, I guess, somewhat demoralized about where things sat. I felt like there was a white elephant in the room, and I wanted to clear the air and had, generally in my own mind anyway, I had tried to do that on the side, and it didn't.
For breath.
All right, we're at the breath. So
Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Relax.
Right. Okay. So the breath marks are 1/4 way through. So keep going, Stacy.
Actually, so that was the main purpose of it, and it was to clear the air in my mind. I certainly didn't follow these rules, so I want to note that, and I'm apologetic in that sense. It's good to have them in front of me because I don't want to misquote, and I'm sure I was making generalizations as opposed to reading from actuality. So it's better to follow this route, I'm sure. So hopefully more can be accomplished. But I did leave feeling like at least we had tackled something that hadn't been mentioned out loud, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so do you have anything else that you want to, or actually, why don't we stop here and maybe we could just do a repeat back real quick. Is that okay? Mel, do you want to repeat back or someone else? Mel, do you want to repeat back? Someone else do it? Or?
Yeah, it seems like Stacy was demoralized and that she wanted to talk about something that was not addressed yet, and that she wanted to clear the air. And I'm glad that we're using NBC and talking about this out loud. And we have Joyce and Moon and Ate on the phone, and you as well too, to witness this.
Okay, Stacy, does that reflect what you said in terms of what Mel just repeated back to you?
Yeah, sure, certainly.
Okay. Would you like to add anything else?
Just that my intention from the gate was to clear the air here and not stir up anything dramatic or non-professional. And I want to make that clear. I know I had some emotions that came through yesterday. I just felt overwhelmed, so I do apologize for that. But I guess maybe I should have said something sooner.
Okay, is that it? Mel, do you want to repeat back what Stacy said again?
Stacy's intention is to address this now because it wasn't addressed sooner, and she apologizes for being overly emotional and is glad to use a professional process now.
5 seconds pause.
Okay.
Okay,
and Mel, do you want to continue?
Yeah, that sounds.
Nope.
Okay, was that everything you were expecting to be repeated back? Stacy, does that sound good?
Yeah.
Okay, is there anything else you'd like to add at this time?
Just that if it's not already obvious, my intentions here are really to form a better working relationship and hopefully instill some kind of trust again.
Okay, so is there anything that you would add in terms of what happened, or this is good for now?
No, I think we covered that, and that's my opinion. She's welcome to have any differing.
So Mel, do you want to repeat back this last part, or is that cool?
That's good.
No, okay, I'll do it. So Stacy just said that Your intentions are to form a better working relationship and to have some kind of trust, like you're building trust. All right,
Okay.
so Stacy, why don't we wrap up with Stacy and move on to Mel, and we can come back to Stacy as needed.
Okay.
Are we ready to move to Mel? I think that should be fine.
Yeah.
So basically, I'm concerned about the relationship that the professional working relationship that we talked about, and whether or not Stacy has the capacity at this point to complete the work and the priorities, and if SVG is going to be a good, if she understands the schedule, time tracking, and the policies moving forward. And that's basically it.
Okay. So let's start. I guess we can stop there. Stacy, do you want to repeat back what Mel said?
Yeah, she's concerned about the relationship as far as for the professional working relationship that we are referring to in this meeting. And she has some concerns about whether or not I have the capacity to complete the work and priorities SVG is asking of me. And she wants to know whether or not I understand the schedule, time tracking, and policies with SVG moving forward.
Sounds good. Does that sound correct, Mel?
Yep.
Anything you'd like to add?
I just want to add that I did introduce Stacy to the team, and I was very excited in the beginning.
Time to stretch.
Let's do a quick stretch. So this is our halfway point. So a quick little 30-second stretch.
Stretch.
All right. So Mel, you were saying that you would introduce Stacy to the team.
I did introduce Stacy to the team, and basically she was interviewed and onboarded by Alberto. She joined maybe one or two team sessions. I don't know exactly because she's responsible for her own time tracking. But in terms of the work completed, I think in the last month and a half, she's maybe completed 1 hour of priority work. So I think we were quite generous to put in our time and to welcome her to the team. I just want to understand what her schedule is this coming week. And it is my intention to tell her that she's more than welcome to do whatever she would like to, and she's more than welcome to continue with the team. Although it is a professional job, and we are paying for work completed as well as attendance and collaboration at meetings.
Okay. Stacy, do you want to repeat this back?
Sure. So Melissa introduced me to the team and she basically got me interviewed and was present for a lot of that. And then I did some onboarding with Alberto. And as far as she's aware, I've done 1 or 2 sessions, but I'm responsible for my own time tracking. So in terms of work, generously, she has said I've done about 1 hour of priority work, but wants to know if I'm going to be able to put in the time for the team. And she says that I'm welcome to do what I'd like to do, but to remember it's a professional job and that they're paying for work completed and attendance and camp collaborations in these meetings.
Cool. So Mel, is there anything else that you'd like to add this time?
That's correct.
So,
No.
so I feel like maybe the best use of our time here, since this isn't particularly heated or anything, we're just going through it. So maybe we should just kind of take a step back and review the policies real quick. And then we can go back to Stacy and see if there's anything that she would like to add.
Yes. Okay.
Obviously a lot of the team got off yesterday, which is great. So that's really good. So let's kind of review some policies real quick. So review policies. So the first thing to note is that we know that if the budget is not completed, in this case it's the non-profit budget, and workers go on
Time to pause.
pay stop. 5 second pause.
Sure.
All right, so we have about 10 minutes left, right? So if the budget is not completed, then the workers go on upfront pay stop. So that's the current situation for all the workers who are on the nonprofit budget, and that includes, Stacy, Mel, and then Jay and Alberto for half of our pay. So basically, Stacy and Mel are not getting any pay because we have not upfront, because we're all on upfront pay stop for the nonprofit. And then me and Alberto get basically half of our pay at this point because the budget has not been completed.
Okay.
So other policies is basically, within the budget process, we evaluate, I'll say within the budget and recruitment process, we evaluate and rank every worker, okay? So then based on the rankings, that determines who will end up in the budget. So basically there's no guarantees until the budget has been approved, who is and is not included in the budget.
Okay.
So in terms of addressing some of Mel's concerns in relationship to how and when is the work that was reviewed and understood before, whether or not safety will continue on the team and everything like that, that will all be evaluated within our process and within the budget process, which will be completed. Stacy is a valued member of our community. Stacy has every right, and we have a link to all, if you ever want it, there's a link to all the membership rights and worker rights and everything like that, that everybody has equal responsibility, equal access to all of our processes, right? Because everybody's considered equal, right?
Of course.
So all workers are invited and considered equal. And so in that context, obviously everyone has to participate in any contentious issues to address them. And then as far as the only other policy in this case is really just, obviously individuals need to step up and be organized and meet their basic worker responsibilities. So basic worker responsibilities include, a schedule, priority work, taking on responsibilities, making sure you prioritize and schedule time to get, everything you need to complete your work.
Okay.
Right. So I think that covers everything.
Time for breath.
All right. So quick breath.
Inhale.
Joyce, do you want to do it?
Yeah. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Relax.
Cool. Thank you, Joyce. All right. So, Stacy, do you have any questions? And the only thing that we missed here is that we do need to, all workers are required to track their hours, right? And so you do that on your work hours tracking spreadsheet. So if there's nothing else that we have better to do now, that's certainly something that Stacy could request to get more clarity on, because we do want to get organized. So basically, in Stacy's case, you have 3 hours of work. I believe you have 6 hours of commitment. This was of paid upfront work, right? And so then of that 3 hours, 1.5 hours per week on, basically work priorities, and then 1.5 hours on general worker responsibilities, like communication and scheduling, etc.
Right.
So not a lot of time, but it's just broken up like that. So anyways, I think that covers all the policies at this point. So Stacy, do you have any questions? Do you have any other concerns? Anything else you would like to add?
I just would like to say going into this up front that I am aware of many of these things, like the hours and the tracking, and I'm just going to take some responsibility right now with regardless of what was going on at home that month, and no matter what was not anticipated that I was dealing with. I really apologize to the whole group because I did not do a good job of tracking my hours, and it's really as simple as just writing it down every meeting and then going back to the spreadsheet. So there's really no excuse. And moving forward, it's fair to say, yes, I understand that, and I will be absolutely on top of that.
Yeah, so one of the things that we always say is we encourage people to, to focus on results and deliverables, right? So for me, if someone says they understand something, the answer is no, they obviously don't understand it until they've done it, right? So unless the work is done and completed properly and correctly, that's the only thing that's going to make me believe you understand it, right? So you are still responsible for tracking your hours for the whole time. And and under our policies, you can estimate your time, right? It's perfectly fine to estimate your time for how much time you believe you worked, right? But you still have to do it, right? And if you need help on how to do that, we can do that, and then you should ask for help on it, as opposed to saying, "Oh yeah, I understand everything, everything's perfect," and then you go away and you don't do it, right? So I would much rather have you say, "Oh, I have a couple questions. Can we review
Time
this?"
to pause.
Right, so that we can actually get through it together.
5 seconds pause.
Time.
5-second pause. 1.
Perfect.
So Stacey, anything else on your side?
I think just, is it fair to say, I'm just going to ask one standard question, and that is, when every week, whether I'm in the meeting or not, I get something from you. And so I just want to know, do the hours always show up there for tracking, or is that a separate spreadsheet?
12 more minutes for this topic.
Okay.
I lost you on the every week, whether I'm meeting or not, I get something from you. So what does
Yeah,
that
I get notes. So I get notes and a copy of these documents. The things that we committed to are the review, the topics,
Yeah. So is there a question?
the question is are the hours that I'm going to be adding to on one of those, or is there a standard document that I'm missing?
So you have your work hours tracking spreadsheet. So we went over this last night. So let me just make sure we link it to your notes here as well.
Thank you. Thank you. I think that's the thing in question that I didn't have, and that's the only thing I didn't have.
So we have your tracking hours spreadsheet at the top.
Okay.
Well, I think this could be a good use of time to quickly go into the tracking hour spreadsheet real quick.
Sure.
But Al, do you want to add anything first, or anything other questions that you have?
No, I know. In this
Okay, we'll come
process,
back.
does the rest of the team have like a chance to interject, or they're just witnessing right now in terms of this process?
I mean, everybody has a chance to get involved and interject and discuss. The only problem is that you guys only have like 3 minutes left. So it's the problem is not, we're mainly just focusing between the two of you just to make sure we address your guys' needs.
Yeah, and not to interject anything here, but if you wanted it, I can do to 4:15. It's really up to you, though. I know we've already scheduled it just till 4. I just double checked. Right.
That's great. I just want to make sure you have your tracking hours and to give the team like a chance to say anything, or if they have no comment, that's completely fine too, and we can switch gears into the other contention to address.
I agree. So let's just, before we jump into tracking hours, let's hear from Joyce, Ate, and Mamoon if there's anything you'd like to add in terms of working with Stacey and Mel, or anything that you've heard about the current situation we're discussing. Joyce, do you want to add anything?
Time to take a break.
Breath?
Break. We're on a break. I think
a break.
Needs to leave in like a couple minutes. Let's just keep going.
Okay. Can I say something?
Yes, please. Joyce.
No, what I just understood is that yesterday, based from what they said, that Stacy was just overwhelmed and maybe and got emotional and all. So I was not there, but I don't know if they raised voice or something. But what I understood is that they just got maybe emotional, like it's Stacy, and that maybe started everything. I don't know if that's what I understood.
Okay.
Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Does anyone have any questions for Joyce? Or? So yeah, I mean, we don't know a lot of the details of what happened, but the bottom line is that obviously, Stacy has expressed her clarity that she did not feel welcomed and was questioning whether to continue working with us at all, right? In terms
Oh,
of
okay.
her involvement and just like, I mean, because it's obviously not just Mel, it's like all of us, like even Alberto and others, we've talked and basically have expressed the concern about Stacy's involvement, and obviously in the last couple of weeks, Stacy has stepped up more. Either way, Stacy's only doing a couple hours, so it shouldn't be a big deal either way. But Joyce, if you have nothing else to say, we can go on to Mamoon or a K.
Yeah, that's all I can.
Okay.
Okay.
Mamoon,
Okay. As for me, what I've understood from the beginning is Mel is a little bit worried about Stacy's professional involvement, and Stacy tried to say whatever was disturbing her, that she was quite overwhelmed and not welcome, and that she has not been tracking her ass. And Jay on the other side said he would prefer that Stacy should understand whatsoever is asked of her than just saying that she understands but no deliverable at the end of the day. And Stacy says she's gonna make it up to the task, that she already tracked some of her asks in the one document, and then she's gonna track them on the on her tracking sheet. That's what I've heard so far. I don't know if I'm correct.
all right. Mamoon, did you want to add anything, or Mel or Stacey, do you have any questions or anything else to add?
I just misunderstood what she said about the one document. I'm clear. Was that the tracking hours document she was referring to?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And then
So,
Stacey did work on the letter for the follow-up with the interested parties on the board recruitment. So, Stacey has done some work in the last week, which is great. So, Mamoon, I don't know if Mamoon can hear. So, Mel, anything else from you? Otherwise, we can go into Stacey's tracking hours and see what that looks like. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Ate and Joyce, everyone else for listening. Yeah, we can go into the time tracking sheet.
All right. So let's see here. So we basically just have three priorities, and then just to mention here, so $35 an hour. This is definitely part of the concerns and issue on the global team. It's just like how high of a value you're asking for it. So that's obviously never going to change in terms of fitting you in the budget and fitting you into like all the value and everything. But anyways, everyone can choose their own pay rate. So in this case, you've got three responsibilities. You've got monthly payroll and budget, which everybody gets.
okay.
So basically, if you wanted to work on the monthly payroll and budget, you technically could. Then you've got your general worker responsibilities and your CCC board setup for the recruitment and the nonprofit budget. Okay, so those are your responsibilities. Anything else that doesn't fit into these three responsibilities would go into, option 0, right? Which is sort of your back pay hours. So general responsibilities include scheduling, getting organized communications, personal value tracking, which is doing this document right here, onboarding and training, your top, your main buddy team, all that kind of stuff, main sessions. All right. So in the context of filling out this document, this is old, so you come in here and you duplicate it. And for the current moon month, we are now on the 77-degree east. What is it?
Yes, Jay.
5 o'clock. Time to start.
What is our current moon month is 77 degrees east,
74 east.
74 east. Okay.
Yeah.
So the current moon month is for February, March moon, right? Moon, is the one that we're currently on. So it's always so easiest to focus on the current time, right? So in this case, we would go to the week of the full moon. We're currently on the week of the full moon, right?
Okay.
Is that
Yes.
correct?
Wait. This one. We are on the week of the last quarter moon, Jay.
Oh, we're already on the last quarter moon. Okay. So
Yeah.
we're already in the week of the last quarter moon. And so basically what we want to do is just quickly show you, I'm just going to verify this. Last quarter moon happens in 3 hours and 8 minutes. So according to my moon clock, we are still in the week of the full moon for another 3 hours.
Okay.
Does anyone disagree with that?
Yes.
Yeah. 3 hours more.
So the quarter moon is in 3 hours, which means that we're currently in the full moon week. Is that everyone in agreement with that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Jay. Yes.
So happy quarter moon. So we're gonna go to the week of the full moon, and then in this case, this is a contentious session, which is just like overall main session. So if you're here for 30 minutes, let's say 45 minutes, we could either round to an hour or whatever, but you could say like, 0.75, or you could say 1 hour. If you had additional hours, you put here. If you do overtime, you would do that there. Last night for the CCC board setup session, how long did you do that session?
For last night. Hello?
Yes, how long was
Yeah,
that?
for the last. Yeah. You
So,
can start time talking now. Yeah, basically.
yeah, so last night is going to be, I believe it was a little after 6 to 8. So, I mean, we can even say 6:30, that's fine. But so an hour and a half.
Okay, so you put an hour and a half. If it was like 2 hours, you would put an hour and a half on your max base pay hours and then 15 minutes on your additional hours.
Okay.
But in this case, it was just an hour and a half, so we just put your max base pay. So the max base pay can only ever be a maximum of 1.5 hours because that's how each responsibility category area works, right?
I saw that, right.
So if you want more hours, you need to take on more responsibilities. In your case, you're not asking for more hours at this time. Okay, so this automatically calculates all of your back pay, right, and adds it all up for you.
Okay.
So then let's look at last week. It says here you from last month. This is from last month. So what about last week?
Last week I did, we'll say about 30 minutes just on that letter, 25 or 30 minutes.
Okay,
And then,
that would go under your CCC board recruitment setup.
right, and then the meeting, which I believe that was either last week or at the end of the week before. But that was when I determined I would be doing that letter. So I think that might have been a week before.
Okay, so last week you think maybe you didn't do any other meetings. So then the week before you said you did a general meeting. So what time was that? How much time did you put in? Like
2 hours.
2 hours. So 0.5 plus 0.5.
It might actually, you know what? I think that was 3 hours. I think I called in at 5 and we went till 8 o'clock. Yeah.
I think she's talking about the February 27th meeting.
Yeah.
Jay, with me.
Yeah, that's probably right.
So just make sure you're clear on the process here. At the bottom here, you can put the date to get more details. So if people have questions, say it's Thursday, March 14th, right? And this was a contentious situation session. And then you can even come to our notes and you can just link our notes here and you can have that all organized so that everybody can verify your hours if there's any questions. So, for example, for here, there's not really any verification. It's just a driven work on the letter, right, on the invitation. And then here you're saying you went to a main session, so we could actually link and verify your involvement with the main session.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Melody, you're saying?
No, nothing. No, that's fine.
Okay.
Nothing.
So then if we go back to the month before, so this is all, and we can also note here, like upfront pay stop for no nonprofit budget, right? So we can note here that all of this has a problem with the fact that the budget isn't done. So we still want you to track your hours normally, as always, but it's just good to note that currently we're on upfront pay stop.
Right.
For that, and so all the hours count as back pay. So if you have your total upfront pay and total back pay all added up, it's $200 so
Okay.
far this month, based on this quick estimate. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right. And you can always propose for your back pay to be turned into upfront pay. Again, this is the vote. It's the same as an advance. So based on this getting verified in our payroll system, if you propose for an advance, we actually can give you an advance, because first it would come from your back pay.
Okay.
So going into last month, I believe you weren't involved for the week of the new moon. So it just has your recruitment pop set up a half an hour. So that would just go under general worker responsibilities. And then it looks like, and so that was before you were in the budget. So then we have onboarding with Stacey 1.5 hours. So this is where I think you worked with Alberto, maybe?
Yes. Yes.
And then the last 2 weeks, there's nothing.
Okay.
And we know we didn't do any actual DPC board nonprofit work, so that's all 000. So the only question really is, like, did you attend any other main sessions? Did you, do any other?
Right. I want to say that leading up to me being onboarded and leading up to me actually being voted in, I joined in a couple meetings with you guys. I don't know if all of them were full team or not. I don't think they were. I think a couple of them might have been just only, or it might have just been you, me, Melissa, and Alberto, if I recall. But ultimately, I want to say that after I was hired, and that was when you had said to me, okay, anytime you've spent so far with us needs to be tracked. And I did not do that with what I had going on at home.
Did you put any tracking hours on your POP?
I had it written down in a binder that was taken actually out of my house. So I did not, just Alberto and I, we filled out something during the onboarding, and it might have just been to know that I was doing it. It wasn't really, yeah.
Okay, so as far as just estimating briefly, you probably went to like 2 main sessions for a couple hours last month, and that's pretty much it, right? So we could say.
Yeah, I mean, I went and created my Discord and a couple. That's about it. Yeah. And then I did the onboarding. So aside from that, yeah, I think I went to 2 meetings before that, and I put in a total of maybe 3 hours between those 2 meetings.
Okay, that sounds good. So I would say that 2 hours. So maybe this is more like half an hour and then 2 hours. Okay, cool. So I would say that it adds up to maybe around total upfront about $122, total back pay $105 based on what you were estimating here. You can go back through it and add changes as needed, but that's what we estimated right now. But again, if you think you did more time, or you want to check on your documentations, or you want to ask us to go through your main session activity, we can do that. But what's important to note here is simply that based on what you just said and us filling this out for you, it works out to about does it have the total hours here? 6 hours, 6.5 hours.
Okay.
Can I just add that I've been having conversations with Stacy that are private and also in the group text, and also I'm trying to establish a more email-based relationship as well for stuff like that, and that this team is unique, or the FQN is unique, that it's kind of radically transparent and everyone gets to see each other's pay. And so it's not a personal thing to talk about each other's hours or our pay rate, because we understand like everyone just lives in different jurisdictions, but it's just different, and it's to go over this in what seems like kind of a public kind of team environment. And so now that we're having this conversation, I think you've asked a few times about the potentiality of an advance. I know we didn't get the budget completed last month, but and then understanding, I mean, can you get paid? And you've done hours, and now that we've done kind of some time tracking, we can kind of, if you have questions about if you can get in advance or what your hours were. I mean, if you had done 2 months, I think 450 times was, yeah, 420 times 2 is close to 900. So, but with where the currently at with your hours, and the budget pay stop, do you have any questions or about payroll or advance or
I
what
just
you
had
want
a
to do?
statement to make, and the statement was basically that I don't. I think that I should just, in the interest of showing you all that I'm very serious moving forward, I'm just not going to. I didn't do a good job of tracking my first month where I was supposed to be approved for the pay anyway. So I honestly, I had made the decision to just let it go.
What decisions did you make to let what go?
I just had made the decision that I wasn't going to request it anymore. I mean, like I missed my window.
To request the
For the first month because it was mainly meetings and onboarding, and I didn't feel like people saw any output from me other than meetings, so I felt bad requesting it.
okay, so but let's just focus on the policies, right? So the current breakdown of Stacy's pay is as follows. You have about $122 of upfront pay, and this is for the 133 degree west. So what is the status of the 133 degree payroll? Joyce, what's the status on the 133 degree west payroll?
Payroll, we already 133. We did not start yet.
This is that we have not
We
started
are
yet.
still on
Yes.
26.
Yes, we did not start
We
yet.
are currently on 26, okay? So currently on 1 month back. So currently on 1 month prior. So we should get to that very, very soon. So that's the upfront pay. So then if you put the first month of back pay, which is $105, so you have $105, so this is a back pay for 133 degree west. And then in addition to that, for this current moon month, we can estimate about $200 of back pay. So that is about, this is for 74 degree east. So this is about $300 of back pay plus $100 upfront pay. So in terms of this back pay, I want to make it clear under our policies that if you ask for less than $300 of back pay, it's not a advance. So as long as all of this gets approved and nobody is against it, right? Anytime anybody in the payroll team or anybody at all can question your tracking of your hours and your totals, that all of this can get. But unless somebody actually questions it, this is what you would expect, right? So as long as your back pay proposal, so under our policies, you can propose to quote turn your back pay into upfront pay.
As long as it's under 300, is that right?
Again?
As long as it's under 300, I'm just making a note of this.
Well, yeah, so if you requested for over $300, then the rest of the money that you asked for would be what we call an advance.
Okay.
More
Right.
money, advances and back pay are the same thing. So if you currently have $305 of back pay, right? If you propose $400, for example, then that would be a $100 advance plus $300 of back pay. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So basically, back pay and advance is the same thing. So at this point, because you have accumulated $300 of back pay, it would be impossible to request an advance if you are not requesting over the $300. So anything above the $300 at this point would be what we call an advance. And then everything else below the $300 would just be what we call turning your back pay into upfront pay. Again, that would be a proposal. It would have to be voted on, and everybody would have to agree on it, and it would go to the HR board and be put in the budget. So every single
So in this, okay.
gets removed from the budget, right? So it gets taken away from somebody else who would get being paid because that's how our budget works, right?
Okay.
Nobody can get paid money that doesn't come from someone.
I'm confused about just the upfront pay, please. I'm sorry, Melissa, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No. But can she propose it? I know we only have a few minutes, but she can, because there's a team here. She can propose to turn $300 into back pay into upfront pay, right? And that.
Correct. Yes. So
Yes.
and
So
you
would
can do
you
that.
like to do that, Stacy, right now? And it's not really an advance; it's within policy.
Well, it's the same thing as an advance. It's no different than an advance. It's just it just would come from her back pay instead of the advance.
Well, so my question is, yes, I would, but my question is also, if I was already approved and it's easier for the upfront pay, the 122, is that something? I mean, I don't know. I don't, like I said, I told you how I felt about that. So that's not something I'm standing on. I'm just looking at the line item, and because I see it, that's why I'm mentioning it. Because one is we're talking about back pay and advances, but if there is time on the clock, even if it's only $122, and you guys are in agreement, then I really could use that, you know? So I'm trying to determine whether or not I should, is that included on this, or is this completely separate? Because 300 is the border, right? So I don't really want to go over it.
Yeah, so your $120 of upfront pay is automatic based on nobody questioning it and that being calculated correctly, because currently it's an estimate, it hasn't been verified, right?
Okay.
So basically, that's going to go through the payroll process. So the only other way to make that go faster is what we call an individual payroll process, where you would have to create an invoice and do your own payroll, which is
Right.
fine if you want to do that. But otherwise, if you don't want to do any additional work, you just have to wait for the team to do the normal payroll process. So that's really just not available to you until that happens, unless
No worries.
you want to step up to do your own payroll, right?
Okay.
So
Got
in
it.
terms of the back pay, that is like an advance. You would be requesting pay instead of the payroll, right?
Understood. Okay, that's a separate deal. Got it.
Exactly. So that's up to you, and it would just be in the terms like, I would like to request XXX of amount of money for being turned from
Yeah.
back to upfront pay. And having back pay is not necessarily a bad thing. For example, once we get the budget set up, with that back pay, you can take sick leave, you can take holiday vacation time, you can get your bonuses. You have 2 bonuses a year, so all that is automatic based on your back pay benefits. So back pay benefits are a really good thing to have because you get automatic pay, you get sick days, you have vacation day, whatever you want. So that's up to you, but it's just good to note how that works. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate you explaining that for me. I think that I've waited this long. I will go ahead and allow the process to just go as it goes for the upfront item. And then, yes, with everyone's permission, I would certainly like to request the, just on this situation, for the 300.
So you're requesting $300 of back pay being turned into upfront pay?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So if you can just confirm that one more time, that would be great.
So I am requesting $300 of back pay be turned into upfront pay that we've gone over today on the week 133 West and 74 East.
Cool. All right, sounds good. So anyways, you can check out if you need to leave right now. You are 3 minutes over your 15 minutes. You said 4:15.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
check. Go ahead and do that, and then you did your official request for a back pay.
Yeah.
And we can address that as a team and have that be voted on, and we will probably email you and you'll be able to vote on it as well.
I'm gonna go ahead and I'll check out on the 420. So we have 2 minutes.
Okay, well, but I mean, do you want to check out? It usually takes a minute to check out. So.
Yeah. So I would check out with a 3, and thank you guys for all your time, especially Melissa. And obviously, so I don't know if I should mention it or not, but we have talked loosely, Melissa and I, about coming back after I get back home, which would be around 7 p.m. I don't know if we already know, Jay, that you're probably not going to be available for that. So I don't know, Melissa, are you still on board with that? Did you want to do that?
I don't know. I don't know how long this session is gonna go. So I'm gonna just
Play by
stick
ear?
around for this meeting.
Okay.
So I'm not quite sure yet, but I think if you were able to stay on, then we could. I think the next step is the team's going to vote, and then we'll discuss it. And one thing I want to say is, like you said, I feel bad, and those are your emotions. But I don't think anyone on the team has said you should feel bad or you're an awful person, or I've never said. I want to clarify that you shouldn't request it or shouldn't be paid for the work that you have put in. Now that we're clear on the hours, I just haven't known what the hours are or which meetings were attended. Some were definitely without me. And so you don't have to feel bad for requesting any money that you've basically worked for or collaborated on. So yeah.
Okay. I appreciate that. I just want moving forward to, for everybody in the room to hopefully be able to find it in their hearts to believe in me as their colleague and know that I'm a dependable person, and I will be trying my very best to make sure I portray that moving forward. So I thank everybody for their time today.
Well, awesome. Sounds good. And just to remind us, like, you know, there is the complication of, you know, dealing with the nonprofit budget and putting the funds in the budget, making sure there's agreement, all that stuff. So it is going to take a little time, you know, based on the upfront pay stop and everything, to get all the pay processes finalized and set up. So, but we will work it all out and make a decision on it and keep you in the loop on everything.
That's totally understood. And once I've done my obligations for the CCC properly, I fully intend to get involved with payroll if time permits, and that's something that I can help with. So,
Great.
Thank you. Okay, so thank you, everybody. Thank you, Joyce.
Thank you,
Melanie.
Stacy.
Okay, take care, Jay and Melissa. Talk to you soon.
Okay.
I will.
Okay, thank you.
I will send a group message to you, Melissa, and Jay will see it too on whether or not we're going to come back for later. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I have a session at 6. I don't know if Alberto's going to be there though, because he's kind of checking out all day for a family emergency.
Right. One of the things I had said to Melissa is only if she's available, you know, potentially if this was wrapped up, maybe we could do like a half hour or 45-minute buddy session later, if nothing else, if she's available. And I recognize she might not be. That's why I'm just going to text her on the little group text.
Cool.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Does that sound good, everybody?
Yes.
Great.
Yes. Likely Thursday session is better than tonight because I have some other work to complete. So I'm just gonna stick around for, you know, the duration of this meeting, and then if you can hop back on or while you're at the appointment, then, you know, you're welcome and not obliged to rejoin this meeting.
Right. I don't think I can do it at the appointment. I can check back when I get home, which might be a little bit before 7. So we'll see what happens.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks so much, guys. All right. Take care.
Thank you.
All right. So we have about a minute before our next scheduled break. So I would propose that we go on the break. Before we go on the break, is there any other questions or anything else about this particular contentious situation?
Sorry, guys, I just popped back in. Sorry to interrupt. And I just want to make sure I'm going to get a copy of this because I did not grab it if I was supposed to grab it from here.
A copy of what?
Everything we're doing right here. This
I sent the email.
Okay.
I sent the email.
Thank you, Joyce. Okay, great. Thanks again, guys. All right.
All right, so the only other thing is we need to document this contentious situation. As we get better at documenting contentious situations, it should be very quick. I don't think it should take more than like 5 or 10 minutes. All right, so any other questions on this particular contentious situation before we take a break?
No question. Question from me.
Not for me.
Okay, so when we get back, I think
Time to take a break.
Okay, so we're gonna take a break, and when we get back, I think we're gonna kind of review both sessions and then see any other policies or other issues that need to be addressed, and then I think we can also consider dealing with this payroll proposal, but we'll go over that within our session. Okay, so review of both contentious. All right, that sound good? So let's go ahead and take a small break, 5 minutes, and then we'll come back and just kind of review both contentious situations, make sure we're on the same page of what needs to happen and getting organized. All right.
Okay.
End of break. Time to start. End of break. Time to start.
All right.
I'm back.
Ready to start?
Yep.
Okay. So,
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
um,
your recording, Jay, is not stopped.
oh yeah, I forgot the stop button.